What's going on, you guys? So, last couple days I've actually spent cleaning my garage up and getting it all nice and organized because it looked like a freaking bomb went off in here. So, I guess now I need to go through and nut and bolt this whole car. Well, for starters, I got the drive shaft pulled out of it because I wanted to check the bolts up here, which a few of them were actually kind of loose. And I'm kind of glad I pulled that out because while I was at it, I noticed, see if I can get the light in here, that I'm going to need to be running a tap through these holes in this aluminum. They don't look like the threads are holding up that great, so I'm gonna go ahead and run a tap through it. Ideally I would like to helicoil it, but there really isn't much left in that hole to open it up any further to put a helicoil in it. So what I'm gonna do is run that tap over it, try and clean it up the best I can, blow it out, and then I'm gonna throw some Loctite on these bolts, which I apparently didn't do because I'm loosening another one up right now. And where's the one bolt I pulled out? I don't think I Loctited these, so that's my bad. I definitely should have put Loctite on those. So I'm gonna go ahead, Loctite all these bolts back up, torque them down, then run a tap through that, put it all back together, and hopefully I can save those threads. Go ahead and mark these so I know which ones I've done. Now the fun part, trying to find a way to lock these wheels in place so that I can put a torque wrench on it. Let's see what happens. Alright, so what I'm trying to do here is I put two of my bolts in here, and I'm going to attempt to hold that while I torque it without smashing my fingers. I'm gonna go ahead, mark these so I know I torqued those, and I'm gonna switch these bolts into the other holes so I can get those last two. I don't know why I didn't just go grab a socket to do this. Just put it on my electric impact, it would go way faster. Okay, I definitely think I need to run a tap through this one. This one's kind of tight. I don't want to force it. I think it actually just has some Loctite in there, it looks like. I think I actually did put some Loctite on some of these. Yeah, threads look good. It's just gummed up with a little bit of Loctite. So I'm just going to run a tap through that real quick, clean it out. It's going in pretty easily, so if it was like a thread issue, I would definitely need to put something on the end of this. I wouldn't be able to turn it this easily, so it's just cleaning out the threads. When you got to do that, just go like one turn, half turn, couple turns, depending on how bad the threads are, and then just back it out. And what that does is it breaks the chips back down into the tap. That way you're not fighting all the gunk that you're chasing out of there. And I'm gonna fire up my air compressor and blow it out real quick too when I'm done. Alright, so this one should actually thread in pretty nice and easy now. Oh yeah, that's much better, much better. And we're gonna do the same thing. Get that locked in place. Try not to smash my fingers. Alright, I'll Loctite it up. I'll throw the drive shaft back in and that'll be good. So, not sure if anybody was wondering, but I did get this drive shaft from a local business called DTS, Drivetrain Specialist. Basically, I got a yoke for the T56, bought this rear flange for the diff here, measured center to center on the U-joint, gave them my measurements, and they cut me up and balanced out a drive shaft for me, and you know, it was a really quick turnaround actually. It was only like, I don't know how many days, 2 days maybe? And it was very reasonably priced. I think they only charged like $350 maybe, if that. So Good price for a quality steel drive shaft that I should not have to worry about breaking. Now, an aluminum drive shaft, yeah, it's more light, it's lighter weight, especially on rotational stuff, like a drive shaft, flywheels, even, you know, wheels. Lightweight makes a real big difference on stuff that's rotating, but honestly, for the extra peace of mind knowing I'm never going to break this drive shaft, and especially for the price, couldn't go wrong with it. Getting a custom aluminum one made, I was quoted by a company that makes drive shafts, half shafts and stuff like that, and it was about $1,500 for an aluminum one. So yeah, I went with this. And it's a good quality drive shaft, and it's 3.5 inch, I believe, too, where the big high power aluminum ones usually got to be about 4 inches. That way you have the larger surface area around the outside of it. Weight wise, it is probably like twice as heavy as an aluminum one, but still not too bad. I think this probably only weighs maybe 25 pounds, if that. I've never really weighed it, I'm just guessing. But like you can see how easily I put this drive shaft in the car. I did take into consideration, you know, it's one of those things I should say that I take into consideration whenever I'm doing something or building or fabricating is, you know, make sure I can service the vehicle without having to take a bunch of stuff apart. So like you can see, I can get this drive shaft out without having to remove the exhaust system, which is pretty nice. I think the only thing I would need to remove the exhaust for is to do the starter, which I'm gonna have to do here soon. But even if I gotta remove the exhaust, it's super quick. It's all V-band stuff. So it's V-band at the turbo, V-band at the aluminum exhaust. And then I have, you know, solid mounts for it that are made out of aluminum, which when they break, because it's aluminum and everything on this car is solid mounted, so they're going to break. I know that ahead of time, but when they break, it's super easy to repair. Not that big of a deal. Now, I am pretty positive the reason that these came loose before is during the last stretch of assembly on this vehicle, I was really rushing to get everything done, and I'm pretty sure what I did was I just zipped this drive shaft up in here as like a trying to test fit it and stuff like that. Just threw it in and hit it with the impact, just and I'm sure I had the thought of, okay, I'm going to go back and torque that, but I know for a fact I didn't torque that because this plate didn't have Loctite on it. And whenever I put these spacers in, like doing customer cars and stuff like that, I always Loctite it. So I think when I put this plate in here, I didn't have the foresight of, you know, me thinking I wasn't going to take it back out. I probably thought, oh yeah, I'm going to pull this right back out of here. Let's just test fit it, zipped it in. Totally forgot about it. So, you know, it's an honest mistake. And considering how much I have done on this car, you know, a couple things are going to be overlooked, and that's what shakedown days are for. Other than that, though, everything else on the car actually looks really good. All right, I'm gonna torque these down, and yep, 5/8. Everything is metric. I think a 5/8 is just a 16. Everything is metric. Oh. Oh, yeah, that's not a good idea. That's a bad idea. That was a bad idea. There's one. Ta-da! Hope I never break a drive shaft, because that'd be a terrible 5-minute job. Nah, we would just fucking impact that shit on there if it was 5 minute. Put my tools away, because my garage will become a disaster again and again and again and again and again. Fucking tight! So that was the last thing that I actually needed to go through on the car, nut and bolt. I went through everything else already. Did an oil change on it. Probably gonna throw some fresh tires on it because thinking about doing a burnout later. I don't know. I'll do one of those Burnout Kings videos for Hoonigan and send that in. I don't know, we'll see. I did fix my handbrake though. So I have that all back together. I actually found a nice billet clevis in one of my bins as I was cleaning my garage. So it was already the right thread for that master cylinder, so I just had to add like a washer spacer on it to fit on the actual handle. And yeah, that's all back together now, so that's fixed. The bolts that were all loose are now all tight, and oil change is done. Still need to get a starter, and the only other thing I want to do on this is put my rack and alternator on a relay. I already have a power trigger ran up to the front for the steering rack, but I need to put the alternator on a relay because right now the alternator is just looped to itself for igniting, and it kills the battery. So every time I park it, yeah, you definitely can't see that. Every time I park it, I have to unplug the alternator, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put that on a relay, and while I'm down there, I'll probably put the rack on a different relay too, just to see if that helps with the cutout issue I was having, which I don't think it's going to, but you know what, I might as well do it while I'm in there. So yeah, other than that, everything else seems to be going good. I do need to put a bolt in this air filter too. Yep, definitely never put a bolt back in that. So I need to put a new bolt in there, and then that should all be good. But like this thing actually is I was expecting to have a lot more issues. There's no oil leaks, the motor's healthy, it runs good, shifts good. Yeah, I'm like blown away by how well all this is working. All these vacuum lines seem to be holding up good. Push lock lines. So I know it's common, some guys run these push lock fittings into the wastegate and melt them, but you know, I got some decent line and fitting on there, so shouldn't be an issue with that. IATs actually stay really cool on this with the air-to-water intercooler, surprisingly. I did try to drain the catch tank, and it was pretty much bone dry, so I was pretty stoked on that. That means I have my ring gaps and everything are set like perfectly, not too tight, not too loose. We're not getting a ton of blow-by, and it's, you know, spent the time to try and do it right, and it's really paying off, I think. Alright guys, so I figured I'd just put this video out here, just a quick little update on what's been going on with the car, and you know, what I've been doing to kind of get it back up to spec, and going through and, you know, nut and bolting stuff, kind of going through a little bit of the process, so showing you guys the places where I've made mistakes, and you know, probably just, you know, showing you, hey, I made mistakes here, maybe don't do what I did. So other than that, you know, we're gonna keep going with that S13 build. That one's gonna be a little bit on and off since I don't have the car here. That's at Chance's house, but you know, so far we're getting a really good response from that build, and I'm really excited to see where that car goes. So if you guys want to see the full start to finish build of a Pro-Am car, LS swapped S13 build, then, you know, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you're new, follow the builds along, and until the next one, I'll catch you guys later.